Have you ever experienced something unexpected during or after an intense emotional or physical moment and wondered, why did my body just react like that? It's easy to assume those reactions are random, psychological, or even something to feel embarrassed about. But in reality, the human body is far more complex and far more fascinating than most people realize. Especially when it comes to peak sensory experiences, your nervous system can respond in ways that feel surprising, unusual, or even confusing. Let's start by understanding a key idea. Your body doesn't separate physical and emotional experiences the way you think it does. When you go through a highly stimulating moment, your brain, hormones, and nervous system are all activated at once. It's not just one system working, it's everything firing together. That's why reactions can sometimes feel overwhelming or unexpected. There is actually a term used to describe unusual responses that happen around peak moments of pleasure or emotional intensity. These responses can occur just before, during, or immediately after the experience. They can include physical sensations like headaches, tingling, or sudden weakness, as well as emotional reactions like laughter, crying, or a wave of calm or sadness that seems to come out of nowhere. Now here's what makes this interesting. Many people assume these reactions are purely mental, something like stress, overthinking, or anxiety, but research suggests that's not the full story. In many cases, these responses are deeply rooted in your nervous system and how it processes intense stimulation. Think about what's happening in your body during a peak moment. Your heart rate increases, your breathing changes, blood flow shifts, and your brain releases a mix of powerful chemicals. Dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, these aren't small signals. They're strong, system-wide changes that affect both your body and your emotions at the same time. Because of this, your nervous system can sometimes spill over. Instead of producing a single, predictable response, it creates a mix of reactions. That's why someone might laugh unexpectedly, feel tears forming, or even experience a strange physical sensation that doesn't seem directly connected to what's happening. Let's talk about some of the physical responses first. One of the most commonly reported experiences is a sudden headache. This isn't just mild discomfort. It can range from a brief pressure to something more intense. The likely explanation involves muscle tension and changes in blood flow. During heightened states, people often tense their neck, jaw, and upper body without realizing it. Combine that with increased circulation, and it can create the perfect conditions for a headache. Another response some people notice is a sudden drop in muscle strength. It can feel like your body briefly gives out or becomes extremely relaxed. This isn't necessarily dangerous. It may be similar to how the body reacts to strong emotions like laughter or relief. When the nervous system is overwhelmed in a positive way, it can temporarily reduce muscle control. Then there are sensations that seem completely unrelated, like tingling in the face, itching, or even feelings in distant parts of the body. This can be explained by how the brain maps sensations. Different areas of the body are represented in nearby regions of the brain, so when one area is highly activated, signals can sometimes cross over, creating unusual sensations elsewhere. Now let's look at the emotional side. One of the most surprising reactions people report is spontaneous crying. And here's the important part. It doesn't necessarily mean sadness. In many cases, it happens even when the experience is positive. This can feel confusing, but it actually makes sense when you consider how emotions are processed. When your brain releases bonding and pleasure-related chemicals, it can also trigger a release of stored emotional tension. Think of it like a reset button. The body is letting go of something, even if you're not consciously aware of what that is. The result can be tears, a sense of relief, or a sudden emotional shift. Laughter is another response that can catch people off guard. Just like crying, it's a way for the body to release energy. When stimulation reaches a certain level, the nervous system looks for an outlet. For some people, that outlet is laughter. It's not about something being funny, it's about the body discharging intensity. In rare cases, people even report more extreme experiences, like brief sensory distortions or feeling disconnected for a moment. While uncommon, these can still be explained by the same principle. The brain is processing a high level of input all at once, and the result isn't always linear or predictable. Here's another key point. These reactions don't happen every time. For many people, they occur occasionally and without a clear pattern. That unpredictability can make them feel even more confusing, but it also highlights how dynamic your nervous system really is. It responds not just to physical input, but also to emotional context, environment, and your state of mind. Interestingly, these responses are more likely to occur when there's an emotional connection involved. When another person is part of the experience, your brain isn't just processing physical sensations, it's also handling vulnerability, trust, and social connection. That adds another layer of complexity, which can amplify the overall response. When you're alone, the experience may be more controlled and predictable. But when emotions are involved, your body is dealing with more variables. That's why reactions can feel stronger or more unexpected in those situations. Now, let's talk about what this means for you. First and most importantly, experiencing unusual responses doesn't mean something is wrong. In most cases, it simply means your nervous system is highly responsive. It's reacting to a combination of physical and emotional input in a way that's unique to you. However, there are times when you should pay closer attention. If you ever experience something extreme, like a sudden severe headache that feels very different from anything you've had before, it's important not to ignore it. While most reactions are harmless, some symptoms can overlap with more serious conditions, so it's always better to be cautious. The bigger takeaway here is understanding how interconnected your body and mind really are. What feels like a simple moment on the surface is actually a complex chain reaction happening beneath it. Your brain, hormones, and nervous system are all working together, and sometimes that coordination produces unexpected results. Once you understand this, those reactions become less confusing and less concerning. Instead of wondering what's wrong with me, you start to see it as my body is responding in its own way. That shift in perspective can make a big difference in how you experience and interpret these moments. Another important aspect is awareness. The more you pay attention to your body's signals, the better you'll understand what feels normal for you. Everyone's baseline is different. What's unusual for one person might be completely typical for another. It's also helpful to stay relaxed and not overanalyze every reaction. The body often works best when it's not being constantly monitored or judged. When you allow experiences to happen naturally, the nervous system can regulate itself more effectively. Over time, you may even notice patterns. Certain situations, emotional states, or levels of stress might influence how your body responds. Recognizing those patterns can give you a deeper understanding of yourself and how your system works. At the end of the day, the human body is not a machine with a single predictable output. It's a dynamic, responsive system that adapts to both physical and emotional input. That's what makes it powerful, and sometimes unpredictable. So if you've ever experienced something unexpected during an intense moment, remember this. It's not random, and it's not necessarily a problem. It's your nervous system doing something complex, reacting to a combination of signals in real time. The more you understand that complexity, the more comfortable and confident you'll feel. Instead of being caught off guard, you'll recognize these responses for what they are, natural variations in how your body processes intensity. And that awareness, that's what turns confusion into understanding and uncertainty into control.